Hello, this is Jason Robertson in Seattle, and it is an honor to be invited by ABZ Mitte in Offenbach, Germany, in conjunction with the AGTCM, to host a series of classes that will take place in Offenbach in October of 2025. We have those dates here on the website. You can see more about those dates. I just wanted to also take a few minutes here at this short introductory video to discuss not only that upcoming course that will take place in person for 4 days in Offenbach, but also to invite those of you watching to prepare for those courses by signing up for a series of 8 online recordings that we made a couple of years ago in conjunction with Offenbach that will go through the fundamental concepts from my teacher, Dr. Wang Juyi, in his approach to acupuncture, which in Chinese is Jingluo Yixue. In English, we call this applied channel theory. And this is the material brought to life that is found in the textbook, Applied Channel Theory in Chinese Medicine, which is available in English, and also with translation into German. And so some of you may be familiar with this textbook. By participating in these online recordings, by watching these online recordings, you will prepare yourself by going through first the fundamentals and by the way, I should back up. It's a series of 8 recordings. Each of them will be 3.5 hours long. So that's quite a bit of information. The first 2 recordings will be about clinical reasoning in East Asian medicine, talking about how an experienced physician like Dr. Wang Juyi went about creating an acupuncture point prescription, selecting points for treatment, and working with prognosis for multiple visits with patients. So that'll be in that first recording. That first recording will also include an overview of what Dr. Wang called Liu Jing Qi Hua, 6-channel Qi physiology, where we'll go through the basics of looking at physiology in East Asian medicine through the lens of the 6 channels, or the Liu Jing, the 6 conformations, as they're sometimes called as well. This will be taking that concept, which is of course in the Neijing, made famous as well in the Shanghan Lun, and looking at the 6 channels as a way of perceiving first normal physiology, and then later pathology in East Asian medicine. And then finally, that first 2 course section, so that first 7 hours of recordings will include a description of how Dr. Wang thought about acupuncture points, exactly how he conceived of the anatomical reality of acupuncture points, and how he located acupuncture points, which is absolutely crucial. Anytime you study theory, if you don't have a focus on how to find exactly the right point, no matter how amazing your theoretical concepts are, if you can't find the most effective point, then you don't get the best results. And this first recording is your first introduction into how Dr. Wang did that. Of course, our 4-day course to be held in Offenbach will go into much more detail of hands-on practice, locating acupuncture points exactly in the way Dr. Wang Juyi did. That will be a course that I'll talk about in just a few minutes. The second 7 hours, the second 2 parts of our online recordings will be about the Tai Yin and Yang Ming system. So in that 7-hour course, we will go through the fundamental way that the applied channel theory conceptualizes Tai Yin as a living system of the spleen and lung together, and Yang Ming as a system where the large intestine and stomach work together, and then of course the entire Tai Yin Yang Ming system as a yin-yang balancing system, of course, associated with the absorption and creation of postnatal qi through the lung and spleen, and the removal of waste and dampness through the Yang Ming system as well. So that will include a discussion of common Tai Yin and Yang Ming point pairings, how those are used clinically. And so certainly all of these recordings, while being theoretically fascinating, will always be sprinkled, will always include information on clinical application. So now let's come to the third set of recordings. This will be a 7-hour course on Shaoyin and Taiyang. So that will discuss the heart and the kidney within Shaoyin system, how they work as a physiological regulating system of fire and water in the body. And then, of course, the Tai-yang, its paired yang channel system, how the small intestine and bladder channel systems balance that fire. And of course, you cannot separate discussions of Tai-yang from an in-depth discussion of the treatment of musculoskeletal conditions and using applied channel theory. As all of us know, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, many of the common complaints that most people come to us for in acupuncture can be treated with the Xiaoyang, of course, Tai-yang, as I just said, and Yang-Ming systems. And so in all of these yang channel discussions, Tai-yang included, there will be discussions of point pairings and using acupuncture points in the treatment of musculoskeletal conditions. And then finally, the last of the online course or online video series will be 7 hours describing the Jueyin and Xiaoyang system. Now, this to me is some of the most fascinating, the relationship of the liver and pericardium, their physiological interplay in the distribution and clarification of blood in the body, the Xiaoyang system and its relationship to connective tissue and fascia, and this entire Jueyin Xiaoyang physiological system in the body as first perceived in the Neijing, described by Dr. Wang Juyi in his clinical research, and then discussion of particular point pairings, particular point applications of Jueyin Xiaoyang disease. So you can begin to see the big idea of these online recordings is to get some of the very fundamentals that you may have seen in the Applied Channel Theory book, go into greater depth through live online recordings of that information, described by me, drawing from my own clinical research in my work here in my Seattle clinic, and then focusing in the end on clinical application through discussions of point pairs that are used throughout history and are used by Dr. Wang Juyi in his clinic and me in my clinic as well. And then finally, when we meet in person, and some of you maybe who've taken courses with me may find that the online courses are a useful review, and those who've not studied applied channel theory will need this information to get more out of our online course, our in-person course, where we meet for 4 days in October of 2025. This course, what I would like to do, and this will be an advanced course, although maybe when you first hear about it, it sounds like a basic course. I would like to go back through the basic point categories, the 5 transport points, the source points, the cleft points, the collateral points, the extraordinary vessel points, and use this information as a way of going deeper into point location, palpation for diagnosis, and conceptions of ways to combine palpation and acupuncture channel theory with point selection. In other words, when we have this in-person course, we will go through all of these basic categories, talking about all the Xi cleft points, going over carefully exactly how Dr. Wang located, for example, the Xi cleft points, and then talking about each of those points in ways that it is commonly paired. So for every point we discuss, we'll talk about common point pairings, we'll practice locating those points, and in some cases, we'll also practice needling those points to get the best out of it. The goal of this entire online recording and 4-day in-person seminar is for a student to become proficient first at the basics of applied channel theory as a theoretical concept, and then secondly, utilizing palpation of distal channels to create more effective diagnoses, and then thirdly, to really get deeper into locating points in exactly the way Dr. Wang Juyi did. Because as some of you who may have studied this material before may have noticed, and certainly was my experience, the longer you study this material, the more you begin to realize that the crucial importance is point location. And so although it may seem like a fundamental class, this 4-day event will be a way to take this theoretical material and bring it to absolute life for you in your clinical work by focusing on finding these points effectively and working again on palpation and diagnosis. So we're open to any questions. We're open even to suggestions about the 2025 course. We're going to have 4 days together. And I promise you, if you studied this material before, it's been a couple of years since I've taught in Germany, this will be information that you have not heard before based on my ongoing work in my own clinic as well. So look forward to seeing all of you in Offenbach in 2025. And for some of you also to watch these online courses as well, online recordings as well. So thank you very much and have a great 2024-25. See you soon.